was like, goddamn.
I got one for not wearing a seatbelt. And then that one.
Man,
and then you got
no.
4.
I got hell no.
Man, stop hitting me and getting in my comments, telling me what to tell King, okay? I know my son. Think I ain't spoke to my son? Think I ain't told my son, his mama, and his grandmamas, his ass going to prison. If he goddamn keep that shit up, his ass going to prison. Ain't no way around it. Ain't nothing I'm gonna be able to do about it. Can't nobody stop it but him. You know what I mean? I've already had that conversation. I've already made my peace with it. Because I know that energy. I was that energy. I know exactly how it's gonna turn out. Yeah. So I done already had that conversation with him, man. King's a good kid, chasing after the wrong shit. And, you know, I trust in God to deal with it the way that he see fit. You know what I mean? It ain't really shit else out. You know, he done got all the whoopings, he done got the punishment, he done did it, he done, you know, did everything as a child you could do to him. So now he gonna have to go through it. You're gonna have to go through it and get through it. And ain't nothing me and mama or nobody else gonna be able to say about it, man. But I'ma love him all the way through whatever it is he going through. You know what I mean? And shit, man, he gonna learn his lessons. Life gonna, you know what I mean? Life is gonna teach him all the lessons that he need to know. And that's the most that we can do. That's the best we can ask for. You know what I mean? I know who he is at his core. You know what I'm saying? This shit that he trying to convince himself of things, as we all do as young men and even young women growing up, try to convince ourselves that we are certain things. And in that journey, we find out exactly who the fuck we really is, you know what I'm saying? And it happens when we least expect it, and our lessons come from where we didn't know they were coming from. And it just ain't shit else to do.
The King's back! Thank y'all once again for tuning in to the one and only Blake Check. It's the culture commentator, King Blake, coming right back at y'all with more content for your head top. All right, now listen, it's let's take this on a very serious note, right? Because one of the reasons and one of the things that I've always had as a mission statement for my platform is that I wanted to use my platform as a voice for the everyday people, the older guy who's gotten past those younger things and looks back on a lot of it, especially when it comes to the culture, and sees a lot of the ignorance and the missteps, and you know, just being a bit of an elder and using my voice for good. So on a serious note, I just wanted to touch on what T.I.'s going through with his son, right? I think what T.I. gave the world was a real vulnerable moment, and a moment that a lot of black fathers, not just black fathers, because it's not just black people in prison, but a lot of fathers have gone through with their children, and especially with their sons, right? Because it's hard to... I'll ask you this question in the beginning, and I'll ask you this question again at the end. And the question is, how do you parent the you out of your children, right? And I asked, how do you parent the you out of your children? Because a father's worst nightmare is the prison system, only second to a graveyard, right? Because once you get into those situations, you know how a lot of elderly people used to tell young people, once you get into trouble, there's nothing I can do to help you. And trouble is easy to get into and hard to get out of. Those sayings are there because when you get into those situations, especially involving the law, your family becomes powerless and has to watch them drag you off and cage you up and lock you up. And a lot of times they can see the path you're heading down and try to course correct, but it's the allure. It's the allure of the streets, especially when you're in your youth. It's so intoxicating. You know, you see a lot of these women even on your Instagram, right? I saw Kayla B, King Von's sister, the other day talk about how she can't be with no 9-to-5 nigga, how she can't be with no square, right? Because a lot of the street life is glamorized by not just the peers, not just music, not just the streets, but by a lot of women as well. So when you have those influences pushing on you from all sides, look at King, T.I.'s son, look at King. He grew up privileged with money. Ain't no reason this boy should be out here getting locked up and doing all of this, you would think, right? And it's not just a black thing, because you look at Chet Hanks and things like that. But at the end of the day, what we speaking to is a parent who's there, a father who's there, who's trying to help his son, who's been through those things and been down that path, and he's trying to course correct with his son and teach him the right way, because he knows the path he's headed down is a path of destruction. And now he's reached a point where he's washed his hands and said, you know what, time is going to have to be his teacher, because how much more can I say, how much more can I give them? And the thing is, a lot of people who don't remember, T.I. over the last few years has been a much more subdued version of himself. But T.I. in his heyday was the self-proclaimed king of not just Atlanta, but of the South, right? And he dared people to challenge his claim at that time. And T.I. had lots of trouble with the law, and the difference is he came from hard conditions. He came from the struggle. He didn't have the rich father looking out for him and providing for him and making the way that T.I. has made for his son and his children. So he probably is looking at this and he's like befuddled, like, yo, what is going on with you, bro? When I was doing those things in the streets, it's because I didn't have any choice. You're doing this because that's just who you want to be, and that's who you're choosing to be. And that's a completely different situation than when he felt as though he was subjected to having to be that person. So this is why a lot of times people get into these conversations about the influence of music on the youth, because when the youth are doing these things and committing these crimes, that's the soundtrack to their lives. So now when you take somebody who ain't even from that environment, and you also see that that's the soundtrack to his life and what he's trying to do with himself, and man, I just hope this young brother don't have to learn the hard way. You understand? Because the streets gonna teach you what your mama and pops couldn't preach you, and he gonna either get it the easy way or get it the hard way. And I hate to keep referring to the old folks, but they always used to say, a hard head make a soft ass. And this young man don't want to hear it, so he gonna feel. It's just food for thought. Y'all do the dishes. Tell me what y'all think, man. How do you parent the you out of you? I said it in the beginning. I'm asking you again. How do you parent the you out of you? It's King Blake. Comment, subscribe. More content coming for your head top. Food for thought. Y'all do the dishes. We out of here.